From our studios in Atlanta, this is CBT News.
I'd like to welcome Jason Knight, who's co-founder and COO at LotLinx. Congratulations, Jason. You've just won the CIO Review Award for Technology Solutions 2017. Talk to us about that.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
I mean, first of all, we're very proud of the team and the product, and just tickled to be recognized.
It's quite an honor.
Thank you.
Yeah.
No, it's been the culmination of a lot of hard work,
Sure.
and I think it's wonderful that the industry is recognizing what we've done and what the product can do.
Right, right. For the few dealers that are out there that have not yet heard of LotLinx, although you guys have blown up here over the last few years and the program's just phenomenal, share with us what LotLinx does and how it helps dealers.
Yeah, absolutely. So what we do is we find consumers when they've user-declared make, model, year, and location search. So I'm looking for this make, this model, this year, vehicle, I live in this zip code.
Right.
And we follow them through their process, score them based on where they go, what they look at, model consistency, shopping intensity. And when our proprietary algorithm says, hey, they're ready to stop shopping and start buying, we serve up a vehicle-specific ad for what we know they want, that when you click on that ad, you go to that vehicle's vehicle details page on the dealer that has it. Wow. So cherry pick the low-hanging fruit of people who have raised their hand. This is what I want.
Yeah.
Put them on the website for the exact car they want and let magic happen.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
So talk to us a little bit about the AI. I know that you guys are known for that and on your platform. So share with us what that's how that works.
Of course. So we've seen that you can correlate engagements with sales. So as you get shoppers to the site who are looking at photos and watching videos and filling out leads and doing all the things that show that they care, you can correlate that to sales. And so every one of the ads that we place and every one of the consumer actions or click-throughs that go to the website, we track what they do. Once they get to the dealer's website, what are they doing? Are they filling out leads? Are they looking at photos?
Sure.
And all of that gets fed back into our algorithm on a VIN level basis by ad, by dealer, to make that virtuous cycle even better. So if we like what those shoppers are doing, we go get more of those. And if it's not as good as we want, we go get better shoppers. And it's just a learning system to just make it as good as possible.
Yeah, that's really cool. Yeah. So I was on your website in anticipation of today's interview, and it says, LotLinx can transform dealer results, dramatically increasing online engagement at net new shoppers while eliminating advertising waste. So there's not a dealer out there that didn't hear that say eliminate, advertise or digital waste. How does that work? It sounds too good to be true.
It's ultimately the payoff of John Wanamaker's quote, right? I know half of my advertising is wasted, I just don't know which half.
Sure.
So what we do is, because we integrate with the dealer's website, we integrate with their inventory, and we integrate with consumer demand, we can see on a VIN basis what's getting shopped from every source. So what we see is that 25% of vehicles get the lion's share, more than 70% of all of the shopping eyeballs that go to your site, go to the dealer's site. That's great for those 25% of vehicles. Well, the other 3 out of 4 you need to sell also. So we're able to indicate which VINs those are, that they need, they're under engaged, they need to be shopped, and it can allow the dealer to shift advertising from what they're doing to the vehicles that they need. That's unrelated to LotLinx, just smarter advertising on what you're doing.
Very cool.
What we do is, today, all advertising is, generally speaking, spray and pray. So you're trying to buy a haystack to find the needle. Well,
it's a good way to put it.
Yeah, but based on what we do, we have the needle. I know what you want. I have confirmed through all of your actions, I know what you want. I match that up with the available inventory at our customer. Put them together. So don't buy the needle, just buy the haystack. All we do is target needles all day.
Gotcha. So it really makes for a much more efficient spend then. I mean, that's what it's all about. Obviously at NADA this past year, everything was about efficiencies. We may see a little bit of a downturn in new car sales, and I emphasize new car sales, not necessarily used car sales, but that has dealers a little bit nervous. So the big buzzword out there is efficiency, correct?
It is.
Talk to us about that.
For sure. When you look at what the digital options were, and we'll just stick with digital for now. Really, there used to be just a few options. You'd have a couple of the endemics, you'd have the OEM site, and you'd have the dealer's website. Today, the data shows that consumers go to more than 20 websites before they buy. So there are zero unduplicated shoppers, meaning you can get a shopper in multiple locations no matter what. So what you have to think about as a dealer, as an advertiser, where can I get that person at the right time, for the right cost, and drive them to the vehicle they want? So rather than just promoting it everywhere, just find them when they're in the short strokes of ready to buy with what they want,
Right.
put them to the car and the dealer who has it.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So you've really taken kind of the guesswork out of it, because as you said, everybody, I know for the dealers and the marketing managers that are listening, they spend a fortune every month and then just hope like hell it's going to work by the end of the month. And when the dealer walks up to the marketing manager and says, okay, show me which one worked the best, they start to shake a little bit, right? And say, oh, we're really not sure. We just know this is the number that we hit and this is how much we spend, or we spent rather. So you guys take kind of the guesswork out of it.
We do. You look at dealers, maybe 15% of their sales will come from an online lead that they'll get through their website.
Right.
So generously speaking, 85% of your sales are going to come from folks who aren't filling out a lead form.
Right.
And so being able to correlate those sales to what's going on the website and the shoppers and the engagement is critical, just to knowing what you're spending on is working.
Yeah, sure.
But then also allows you to better target it, because if no one is shopping a vehicle, they're not going to be buying the vehicle unless you sell it to them, but then they've come down and it's a much more complex process.
Yeah.
Have them show up for what you already have.
Right. It's a beautiful thing. Analytics is obviously, it drives everything in the digital space right now. Talk to us about your capabilities at LotLinx, because it's pretty cool from what I've seen.
No, thank you. So we talked about the 360-degree integration. We're in so we can observe what's going on in the dealer's website. From a Google Analytics standpoint, we also use tagging so we can see what goes on inside the pages of each of these. And all of that information goes into our system. So by VIN, you can look at shoppers, engagements, leads, click-to-calls, click-to-chats, texts.
By VIN?
By VIN, by source.
Okay.
So I can see what Google's doing, I can see what LotLinx is doing, I can see what you're getting from display advertising, and we even have the ability to import the data from the endemics.
Okay.
So Cars.com and AutoTrader by VIN, so you can see and aggregate all of the things that your marketing is doing by VIN. Wow. And so then you can look at it and say, okay, well, this is doing great. I'm not going to spend any more money on these 10 cars.
Sure.
I need to spend on these other 90.
Right.
And it just spreads it out, makes it more efficient. And by the way, you can start to associate then, oh, this got 30 shoppers and it's sold. And what we see is that, if a vehicle gets 30 shoppers in 30 days, 81% of those vehicles will sell.
Sure, yeah. I was talking to one dealer that said he spends about $700 a car in marketing. And I know, it's crazy, right? How much we're chasing. And he's trying to work diligently to bring that cost per vehicle down. And obviously programs like this is really what he needs to be focused more on. Do you find that your average dealer is spending less money today than they did 5 years ago because of that?
We find that they're spending it smarter.
Okay.
And so very frequently folks will get on, they'll spend 60, 90 days to get comfortable with the product, understand what it does, and see it, and then they'll start to say, why do I have this? And instead of spending, $9,000 a month on an endemic, they may put half of that in their pocket, reallocate that half to some more SEM, potentially display or Facebook or LotLinx or whatever that is, that is shown to be more effective in their analytics. Yeah. And so they're ratcheting it down. So in some cases they're spending less, but the smart ones are saying, look, this times are great. I'm going to make while making's good. Yeah. And they're reallocating it to things that are more effective. Okay. And maybe they're spending some on their fixed ops. Or they're doing other things to generate other profit centers than just bring shoppers in. Yeah. And they're doing better than they were before. Yeah. So it's working.
And we know now that everybody's talking about on both the consumer side and the dealer side about taking the entire sales process online, right? From start to finish, all the way through the finance process, do everything online. Have you heard more and more about that taking place sooner rather than later in the industry?
Yeah, it's interesting. I think that consumers certainly would like to do that when you ask them. Right. And you see movement towards that with different financing companies and being pre-approved and things like that. But I think it's such a large, important purchase that I don't know that it will, at least in the foreseeable future, ever be totally online. I think the dealers are so important for having the product. Yeah. I think it's so important to have the people who can talk about the product. Yeah. And I think you need to touch and feel those things. I mean, I'm relatively low maintenance, but I won't buy clothes without touching and feeling them. Sure. I mean, and those are low ticket items. Right. I mean, a vehicle is wildly expensive.
We talked to one dealer and he said that he's trying to create an environment in his dealership that will allow the consumer to do business the way they want to do business. Some might be online, some may be a hybrid of the two where they do some of the process, but they want to finish the paperwork in the store, while others may want to come in and do the entire sales process in the store. So we just want to set up and create an environment that serves all of those different types of consumers.
Yep. And it's going that way. 10 years ago, people didn't do anything online, or 15 years ago, there was nothing online. Now, 97% of buyers are online. They identify the vehicle they want. And what's the number? 72% of the first contact with the dealer is when they walk on the lot. So they've identified everything online. They know you're not an axe murderer. They know you have good product. Pricing is relatively transparent. And they say, okay, I want to go there. And so for us, bringing it back full circle, it's just matching those folks up. You want this vehicle? I know you do. Here's a great dealer who has it. You're on their website, and then suddenly you now see their incentives, their remarketing, all of their, the things that make them great are now front and center. And by the way, you're not being conquested by 6 other people on whatever website you were at. That's still, it just gets it quicker. And to your point, the consumer will do what they want to do. Eventually, they'll need to come down. It's just a matter of serving them until they do.
So from your perspective, COO of a substantial digital marketing company that helps dealers, where do you see the industry going in this space in the next 3 to 5 years? Because we're changing so quickly. Where's all this headed?
I think online will only continue to increase. I think we'll become more and more hyper targeted from a absolute standpoint. And I think that's across all things, broadcast and online, and even print to a certain extent, because as data is more and more available, as we can mine big data, you're able to do smarter, more efficient things. I think that's one piece. I think that consumers will become more savvy. They'll stay more online because it's what they want to do. You can talk millennials or Gen Xers or whatever, but in general, people don't want to give away their personal information because of control issues, because of Equifax, things that go on. They want it on their time. So I think that will continue to be a major change in how we look at things. How do you control it? How do you be hyper targeted? But then ultimately, it's still going to come down to product, service, pricing. It's critical. So as we move into the next few years, potentially have a slowdown or at least a standardization or a stagnation of growth or decline, it's going to be more competitive. Inventory is growing, lease returns are growing, demand is staying flat. That makes things tough. And I think that dealers will really need to drive their efficiency more and more and more from necessity, just from staying alive. Because they have a ton of product. And
the compression, it continues to get tighter and tighter. So they don't have $700 a car anymore to spend on.
It's crazy.
On marketing. It really is.
And you go back to NADA stuff. $50, $150 a sale. Let's take $150 because it's easy math. If you're spending $750 and you drop that to $500, you've just made $250. You've more than doubled almost tripled your profit.
That's right, and it goes right to the bottom line, whatever you're saving.
That's exactly right.
It's amazing. It really is. All right, Jason Knight, co-founder, thanks so much for dropping by. And I know it takes some time out of your day, but we always love when you come in and share with us kind of what's happening in the digital space. Obviously, it continues to be one of the top hot topics of most dealerships. What are we doing in digital and the virtual space? So thanks again for coming in, and hopefully we can have you back.
Would love to.
Thank you.
Thanks. Enjoyed it.
Thank you for watching the official news source of the retail automotive industry, CBT News.